The UK takeover from this ridiculous lefty government of YouTube. I shit you not. So in this breakdown here, the UK government, run by an absolute wally called Keir Starmer, is running a public consultation, which is probably code speak for, we've got this big fat memo that I want you to read, and I want you to obey every single tick box, called Watch This Space, a new strategic direction for UK media. The proposals include mandatory changes to how content is discovered on YouTube. This could direct audiences away from your channel. Now, I want to add one thing here, folks. They do use the word could maybe a couple of more times in this breakdown. So it doesn't mean that if you're a prominent political UK creator that your channel or the content that you have is going to come under fire. I know what this is all about basically, and by the time I get to the end of this video, you will, or hopefully you will agree with me. Now, as a UK creator, this directly impacts your future. Digital content discovery works best when driven by user choice, not legal requirements. This is a vital window for you to share your perspective before the consultation closes on the 31st of August this year, which just so happens to be my mother's birthday as well. Impact of the proposed rules. Now, this could require a digital platform like YouTube to prioritize and give a privileged position, in other words, getting bullied out of the way, to traditional broadcasters like the BBC, ITV and Channel 4 in user interfaces and recommendation feeds, potentially pushing your content out of sight. Now, the thing is, the mainstream media, as we all know, folks, is government controlled, because everything they feed to you is the absolute truth, nothing but the truth, and you can't handle the truth. The BBC saying bad things about a badly received movie? Never.
And also wanting to support it after the predictable online backlash to Millie Alcock's casting, who has apparently committed the unforgivable sin of not being Sydney Sweeney. I came out headachy.
Ara gets sick and weak when she's exposed to a green sun in the second act low point, but then she just gets better when a yellow sun helpfully comes out. There's no particular trial she has to go through, no lessons learned, no difficult choices to make. The plot says that it's time for the big final battle, so it happens.
Mandating prominence to traditional institutions will impact all other independent digital creators, production companies, and media companies, including through your content downranked. Pushing this group forward means pushing everyone else downward. Mandatory prioritization of broadcasters would affect how your content reaches your audience, regardless of what your audience actually wants to see. It's quite interesting, this wording, because it sounds like that YouTube is not really embracing this. I'm actually surprised, because remember when Sir Keir Starmer wanted Apple to release details of their messaging service, and for some reason Apple yielded like a bunch of pussies that they are? If Steve Jobs was alive, that would never ever happen. So why YouTube's even actually entertaining this fact is beyond me. I don't understand why they would do it, because again, YouTube is the alternative media. Stations like the BBC, ITV, they're all established networks from many decades ago, and they feel threatened by the prominence of YouTube, how all the clickbaity thumbnails get more attention than they do, reducing user exposure to diverse content and independent creators. Mandating prominence for established media networks would push the UK's diverse mix of independent journalists, educators, and digital-first businesses down the line. Your ability to organically grow your community, generate views and revenue, and build a sustainable business is compromised if your content is hard to be discovered. But the one thing I'm going to say here is, folks, is that you've got a choice as a person who likes their favorite YouTuber, because if you're looking out for that person's content, of course, you're going to gravitate towards that before anything else that comes up from the arsehole of the BBC, undermining the creator-audience bond. The consultation repeatedly emphasizes trust, because we know that's a joke, in the context of legacy broadcasters, implying that digital-first voices are less credible, damaging the foundational trust that sustains the creator economy. Now, don't forget, folks, get your perspective in before the 31st of August this year. Otherwise, we could all be effed up the wazoo. Now, remember, folks, if you want to have the BBC headlining your interface of YouTube with this fool right here called Thomas McGill, but I will call him Thomas McGale because he likes to talk about pride events in London, this is what I saw today on the lunchtime news for local Londoners.
Now, when the World Cup comes round, most people know who they're supporting, but what if you're from a family of mixed origins?
Seriously? Yeah.
And on that one, folks, what do you think? Do you think this is just a message that the BBC are being threatened by YouTube? Of course it is, because YouTube, at least for the most part, allows its creators to do what they want within certain confines and to be just themselves. Yes, you can say that Rumble is also a viable alternative, but from what I've been told, Rumble just isn't quite catching the numbers that YouTube has always managed to capture since its inception in 2005. But what more do I have to bring to this, folks, then to give you a stark warning that yours truly might get pushed out of the way. But to be honest, I'm not a politically inclined guy. I kind of stay in the shadows and do my thing, so I might be okay. But if you're like the British version of Asmongold, then perhaps, just perhaps, you might be, and your channel, under threat. And on that one, folks, if I were you and if you were me, I will catch you catching me for the return of the next video.